In this video, you will see what is the top 10 must-have units in update 15.5. Every units in this video are all obtainable and not from trading. I do want to know what do you think is the best unit in update 15.5. Remember to subscribe and like, and with that being said, in no particular order, the first must-have unit is Abdo Magician's Red. Abdo is one of the newest units added in this update 15.5, and Abdo is one of the best units to have for beginners, especially on how strong Abdo is. Yeah, let's go. Abdo Magician's Red stats a max upgrade and max LR, 185,380 damage with his SPA at 7.7 seconds, making his damage per second at 24,075.32, which is insanely strong. Abdo also does burning damage, although as the time I'm recording this video, we do not know yet on how much burn Abdo is doing. I will update the comments below once they say how much burning Abdo does. And how to get Abdo Magician's Red is through opening the brand new Summer 2023 capsules, where there is a chance for the capsule to drop Abdo along with the two other new units. Getting Abdo is also good, especially if you are a beginner, since he will be able to carry you through your games. Abdo Magician's Red damage types are Magic and Fire. Alright, next unit is Oshi Ido. Oshi Ido is one of the most overpowered support unit in this update 15.5 especially. Oshi Ido buffs your units by 15% damage and makes the upgrade cost 20% less, which is insanely good. You can place Oshi Ido anywhere in the map and your units will still be buffed. Oshi Ido's passives only works on you and not other teammates. Pairing Oshi Ido with farms will make it cheaper for you to upgrade your farms, and not just making your farms cheaper, but also making your other units upgrade cost less, which will be valuable in short maps like story mode, infinity castle, portals, and many more. Alright, next unit is Guts Berserk. Guts Berserk is one of the most overpowered unit with his extremely overpowered full AoE, and overall one of the best ground unit, as well as he will be able to hit both air and ground enemies at later upgrades in this update 15.5. Guts Berserk stats a max upgrade and max FLR, 326,850 damage with his SPA at 12 seconds, making his damage per second at 27,237.5, which is insanely strong, especially Guts is full AoE and will be able to hit air enemies at later upgrades. Guts also does an addition of 25% bleeding in 4 ticks, which is the best tick you can have on a bleeding unit. How to evolve Guts to Guts Berserk is by defeating the brand new Eclipse Portal, which you can obtain through the Windham Infinite mode, which is incredibly easy, especially the map is huge, so you can place further back just to be sure that you are gonna win your game. Guts Berserk's damage types are physical and fire. Alright, next unit is Usup God. Usup is still the best boss killer in this update 15.5. Especially he is a hybrid unit on placement, which means he will be able to hit both air and ground enemies. Let's go. Usup God stats a max upgrade and max LR, 414,182.93 damage with his SPA at 5 seconds, making his damage per second at 82,836.59, which is currently the highest damage and damage per second unit in this game. Usup God is meta for Infinity Castle, which is insanely strong, so I highly advise you to get Usup God if you are doing Infinity Castle, and especially he will be able to carry you through early waves. Usup God's attack type are true damage and air, which he will ignore yellow shield and be insanely good for Infinity Castle as it will ignore resistance. Okay, next unit is Stained Hero Slayer, who is one of the best DPS ground unit, as the ability that he will get at later upgrades is extremely overpowered in this update 15.5. Stained Hero Slayer stats a max upgrade and max LR, 91,870 damage with his SPA at 5.6 seconds, making his damage per second at 16,405.35, which is insanely strong. How Stained Hero Slayer works with his ability is whenever Blood Curdle is activated, ranged damage will deal 3 times more damage to every bleeding enemies inside his range. The ability can crit 4.5 times of Stain's current damage, as well as it stuns enemies for 2 seconds if the enemy is bleeding, and his ability is not a global ability, which technically you can spam the ability. There is a 10 seconds cooldown on enemies who have been affected by the ability, and the ability cooldown is 20 seconds. Stain Hero Slayer will be extremely good when pairing with bleeding units, especially Gus Berserk, who is one of the most overpowered unit in this update 15.5, where he will be able to hit air enemies at later upgrades, making Stain Hero Slayer the best, especially when Blood Curdle is activated. It will attack every enemies that are bleeding in his range. Stain Hero Slayer's damage types are physical and dark. Alright, next unit is Skull Knight King. Skull Knight King is one of the most strongest ground unit in this update 15.5, with him having one of the best DPS. Skull Knight King stats are max upgrade and max FLR, 387,820 damage with his SPA at 5.9 seconds, making his damage per second at 65,732.20, which is extremely overpowered for a ground unit, especially his AoE is a circle, which will be great against armored enemies. It is unfortunate that Skull Knight King does not hit air enemies at later upgrades, but that makes this unit balanced, especially you can only place 2 Skull Knight King, making unique trait the best trait you can have on Skull Knight King. How to get Skull Knight is defeating the Secret King portal, the Eclipse, the Wings of Darkness, which you can get through the Eclipse portal and obtain through the Windham Infinite mode. Okay, next unit is Poseidon, Tyrant of the Seas, which is one of the newest units added in this update 15.5. Poseidon became one of the best ground unit with his full AoE and will be able to hit both air and ground enemies at later upgrades. Poseidon, Tyrant of the Sea stats a max upgrade and max FLR, 339,342 damage with his SPA at 9.1 seconds, making his damage per second at 37,290.32, which is one of the best damage per second, especially he is a multi-hit, which will do well. He will do well against shield enemies. How to get Poseidon Tyrant of the Seas is by defeating the new secret Tyrant of the Seas secret portal, which you can obtain through defeating the summer portal. Poseidon damage types are physical and aqua. Alright, next unit is Griffith Ascension. Griffith is the most overpowered unit and even better than Dio Over Heaven himself, with Griffith's extremely overpowered passive in this update 15.5. Griffith's Ascension stats at max upgrade and max FLR, 20,711 damage with his SPA at 6.3 seconds, making his damage per second at 3,287.46. You might be wondering why he has such a low stats. Well, it is because you have to sacrifice units. If you sacrifice buff units, Griffith will turn into Griffith Reincarnation, where it will buff your units by 100%, and you can stack your buff with Griffith Reincarnation, which is incredibly overpowered, which can be used in the brand new tournament in this update 15.5. If you sacrifice mythic, secret, legendary, epic, rare units, Griffith will turn into a full AoE DPS unit, which is the most overpowered unit in anime adventures, even better than Dio Over Heaven himself. That is crazy. Yeah, so crazy. Do keep in mind that Griffith doesn't have a cap, making it insanely overpowered, so I definitely recommend trying to get your Griffith's damage to 300 plus damage before he transforms, because it will be broken for Griffith to have such an insane amount of damage, with him being a full AoE and multi-hit, which will be great against shield enemies. Griffith's buffs is based on the cost of the unit, which if you have maxed out the units, it will give more percentage of damage slash buff before Griffith's transform. Alright, next unit is Lawroon. Law is one of the best ground and support unit in this update 15.5. Law is also extremely overpowered to bring in Infinity Castle, and not only because of his ability, but how surprisingly cheap he is to max upgrade, which will be useful in Infinity Castle, leaderboard runs, and many more. Lawroon's stats at max upgrade and max FLR, 150,141 damage with his SPA at 5.9 seconds, making his damage per second at 25,447.62, which is insanely good for a support unit, as he has an ability at placement called Shamble, where when activated, the enemies will be teleported back, which is insanely strong, and he is a better Lulu Gias, and that means Lawroon will be valuable in Infinity Castle and leaderboard runs with his Shamble ability. This Shamble ability affects air, ground enemies, and bosses, which is insanely pog. Yeah. Lawroon is incredibly easy to evolve, as you just have to continuously defeat the puppet portal, which are easy to defeat even if you are soloing the portal. Yes. The best trait you can have on Lawroon is unique, as he is a 3 placement, and alternative traits you can have on him is Sniper, so he will be able to teleport back more enemies with his huge range. Lawroon's damage types are Magic and Aqua. Okay, next unit is Metal Knight Arsenal. Metal Knight is one of the best heal units, especially he has an insane multi-hit and summons drones in this update 15.5. Metal Knight Arsenal stats a max upgrade and max LR, 129,881 damage with his SPA at 6.1 seconds, making his damage per second at 21,291.96. Remember that Metal Knight Arsenal can only be placed down twice, making unique trait the best trait. The drones will deal half of Metal Knight's damage, and at later upgrades, Metal Knight will become a multi-hit which will do well. He will do well against shield enemies. You will be needing takedowns for Metal Knight to spawn his drones, and there is a tracker at the back on how many takedowns he got. To fully max upgrade one Metal Knight Arsenal will cost you 118,250 yen, and his damage types are Magic and Storm, which makes Metal Knight Arsenal a must-have for Magic Infinity Castle rooms. An alternative trait you can go for instead of Metal Knight Arsenal is Fuji Admiral. Fuji is still the best physical heal unit and the strongest heal unit in this update 15.5, especially with his 2-hit at placement, making him great against shield enemies and overall a good heal unit. Fuji Admiral stats a max upgrade and max LR, 157,205.43 damage with his SPA at 11 seconds, making his damage per second at 14,291.4, which makes Fuji Admiral the best physical heal unit and overall the best heal unit, especially with how cheap he is to max upgrade with an insane damage, and one of the best shield breaker heal unit, as he is a 2-hit at placement and will do multi-hit at later upgrades. Fuji Admiral costs 66,500 yen to max upgrade one single Fuji, and his damage types are physical and dark. Alright, next unit is Roger Pirate King. Roger is one of the newest units added in this update 15.5, and he became the best ground unit with his overpowered passive, and Roger is currently the best DPS in this update 15.5. Sheesh! Roger Pirate King stats a max upgrade and max LR, 298,614 damage with his SPA at 5 seconds, making his damage per second at 59,722.8, which is insanely strong, especially Roger is the current best DPS unit in this update 15.5. What makes Roger extremely strong is at placement, he will be able to stun ground enemies for a few seconds. How to get Roger Pirate King is through opening the brand new summer 2023 capsules, where there's a tiny chance with the capsule to drop Roger, so good luck to everyone who is trying to get Roger Pirate King, and I definitely suggest trying to get him because he is a limited secret unit, so if you're a collector, then get him. Yes, Roger Pirate King damage types are physical and fire. That was everything for this video on the top 10 must-have units in update 15.5. I hope this video helped you in some sort of way. Remember to subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Yeah.